Alright, it's time for the Yami Noob Honesty Hour. How many of you have done something, let's say, stupid on your motorcycle? Excessive speeding on a country road, doing a wheelie at an inopportune time, or maybe drag racing your buddy off a stoplight. Look, you can relax. I'm not gonna go tattle to your mom about your bad behavior. These motorcycles sometimes elicit some bad behavior that's kind of impossible to resist. I mean, a certain type of person is attracted to motorcycling, right? We're all seeking adrenaline and a little bit of risk-taking to begin with. But today we're going to talk about why so many people, specifically younger males, choose to ride in a risky way on a motorcycle. We're going to dive into the psychology of risk-taking and how it affects motorcycle riders directly. And maybe in the hopes that some of you younger riders that are feeling a little foolhardy can learn a thing or two and minimize the risks. If we're talking about the root causes of squidding, it all starts in the brain. Because as it turns out, your gray matter has a very high impact on whether or not you think power wheelies on the highway are a good idea. There's this part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex. It's what's responsible for logical assessment, risk-taking, and impulse control. You know, all those things that get in the way of you doing fun stuff on your motorcycle. The prefrontal cortex does not develop until you're in your mid-20s. That's why we say it's usually a bad idea for a 19-year-old to buy a 1000cc motorcycle. While the prefrontal cortex is not developed, the amygdala is firing on all cylinders. The amygdala is the part of the brain that processes emotions and impulses. So in essence, as a teenager, you're making decisions based on feelings and not thinking it through logically, which is kind of a bad recipe for riding a motorcycle. It's literally your ungoverned monkey brain just trying to take control. Young riders tend to feel invincible, that it'll never happen to them and they won't crash. And this partially isn't really their fault. Their brain literally isn't set up to think through of all the consequences and risks of what they're doing. It's probably why in prehistoric times, the young 17-year-old would go out with a spear and try to take down an elephant all by himself, only to have the elder male in the tribe grab him by the shoulder and say, hey, probably not a good idea. Not only is the young squid's brain not fully developed yet, it's also being subjected to a cocktail of hormones like adrenaline, dopamine, and testosterone. And you know what acts as a catalyst in your brain to activate all those feel-good chemicals? Speed, acceleration, twisting the throttle on a motorcycle, and watching the world blur around you. Hell, I experienced that when I was in my early 20s. It was a lot of fun. Motorcycles can hit the chemical jackpot. They give you those incredible feelings, causing your brain to chase the next hit of a rush. And as you become accustomed to high-speed riding, you feel the need to ride faster and faster and faster to keep hitting the same high. That's why posting videos of yourself going over 150 miles per hour on the internet seems like a good idea, but that's because your emotional and impulsive side of your brain has taken over and the logical part has not been able to act. And look, for many people, riding a motorcycle is a social behavior. You got group rides, bike nights, and just simply posting videos and photos of your cool bike on Instagram to flex up on all your buddies. Motorcycling is very much part of the rider's identity, and their ability to share that through content is as well. And when you're young, you desperately want to fit into whatever social group you've ascribed yourself to, and that can kind of be a flaw if you think about it. You might be in your early 20s and think that you've outgrown the feeling of peer pressure. I mean, sure, you're not 5 years old on the playground being pressured into eating a worm anymore. You see your buddies online or maybe even influencers posting content where they're doing wheelies or lane splitting at 120 miles per hour, and you might say, well, maybe I should ride like that. Maybe I need to ride like that. Maybe I should post up some stuff of me doing that. These young squids want to post so that they are also viewed as fearless and respected in their chosen community. So they push harder, ride faster, and take more risks, all to cement those chemical reward systems in their brains, and to garner the approval of their peers. There's no better drug than social acceptance. And if everyone you ride with is a crazy squid, it will normalize the behavior for you. And riding becomes really dangerous when you think you're better than you actually are. I've talked about this on the channel before in regards to motorcycling, but the Dunning-Kruger effect is extremely important. That's a psychological phenomenon when people with low skill at an activity massively overestimate their ability to do the activity. And unfortunately, newer riders are prime targets for this. You've passed the MSF, you ride for a couple of months, and you tell yourself because you haven't low-sided the bike yet, that's it, I'm ready for a 1000cc machine. So you go and buy an S1000RR. But in reality, real skill takes years of practice, continuing education, and a commitment to the craft of riding. Inexperience and overconfidence is how many riders find themselves in a sticky situation on their motorcycle. Because a lot of people think, it won't happen to me, and then it does. A new young rider might not have had enough close calls to really understand the consequences of what they're doing. They might think about the statistics with motorcycle crashes and just think that it's just a number and it doesn't apply to them. Yeah, they're just numbers until your buddy posts videos of you moaning and groaning in pain on the side of the road and your Gixxer's in pieces next to the guardrail. When you're young, close calls or near misses might actually function more as an exciting thing rather than harbingers of danger to come. Hell, I'm a little ashamed to admit it, but I remember in my early 20s, anytime I had a close call or a near miss, I would get this crazy surge of adrenaline and I'd kind of be addicted to the feeling. A story of recovering a potential high-sider speed wobble or any other near-miss crash might seem like something to brag about. They might say, look at me, I almost crashed, but I didn't. Motorcycles don't offer second chances usually, and getting lucky is not a sustainable strategy. You have to respect the danger, not just pretend it doesn't exist because your prefrontal cortex is still malleable. But the good news is your squid prognosis is not terminal. There's still plenty of ways to ride your motorcycle, have fun, and mitigate risk. And you can also not let your squid brain totally take over. Your future self will thank you. You want to really push the limits of your motorcycle? Your best option is to take it to the track. And if you don't live near a track or you don't have the funds to go to a track, you're going to have to exercise more self-control. Not being able to afford a track day or having a track be very far from you is not an excuse to go crazy on public roads. I hate to say it, but if you're saying that you're riding dangerous on the street because you can't afford a track day, that's broke boy problems, and I really don't want to hear it. Remember, if you want to be a real fast rider, it starts with actual skill, not just getting lucky. Practicing braking, cornering, lines, and smooth application of throttle is going to yield way better results than just yeeting it on the highway and hoping and praying you go faster and survive. Because also, hot take, it doesn't take a lot of skill to just go wide open throttle on a highway. Most riders can do that within 2 to 3 months of riding their bike. You should approach motorcycling while thinking long-term. Riding should be a long-term thing towards mastery. Motorcycling is a dangerous thing. It's not just some silly accessory you add to your lifestyle. And it's certainly not something you pick up over summer and say, okay, I'm a motorcyclist now, that's over, I now can ride a bike. Riding fast is fun when it's under control in an appropriate area. You got a nice open highway on-ramp, man, just let that thing rip, let her sing. I do it all the time. Are you on a canyon road with a 50-foot drop off the edge? Yeah, I'm probably gonna ride 5/10 and just cruise and have some fun. The same goes for overtly squid types of behaviors. We're talking wheelies, burnouts, sliding it around, just doing general tomfoolery with your bike. Try to do that in an area away from the general population and you're gonna have a better time and no one's gonna get upset at you either. Additionally, be mindful of the type of riding you expose yourself to and your circle of influence around you. Being 20 years old and getting a leader bike and trying to hit 190 miles per hour on your local highway is not only not advisable, it's very bad practice for you to staying alive. Even if your warped, barely post-adolescent brain says that it might be a good idea to do so. If you're lucky and you avoid serious consequences from your behavior, you'll still look back and think, wow, I got really lucky and I shouldn't have done any of that stupid stuff. Take it from me. I literally think that all the time. So to all the squids out there having a stupid amount of fun on their motorcycles, emphasis on stupid, I get it. I lived it. I was there too. But if you want to keep riding, get better at riding, and be an actual Chad at this whole motorcycling thing, respect the craft. Take it slow and build up the skills. The real flex is being alive. I often joke and say, you either die a street squid or you live long enough to become an adventure dad. You gotta think long-term, start with a solid foundation and pursue those riding skills. Hone your craft over a long period of time and then get a Turbo Hayabusa. All right, squids, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you practiced any of these crazy behaviors? Are you trying to repent and be a better rider than you used to be? Or are you simply 20 to 30 years down the road and past all of your crazy behaviors? Drop some of your craziest stories down below in the comments. I do love reading through them, and I hope you learned something in today's video. We're always trying to practice a safe and fun approach to motorcycling here on the channel, and I hope you enjoy what we're doing. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you in the next one. See you later. Keep watching Yami Noob.